Right guys, we got a quick one here as I was too tired last night to actually live stream the debate, but I did watch it and all I can say is wow, if Trump would have let it happen that would have literally been a Biden commercial, no thanks to the host Chris Wallace. It was in general a pretty pathetic affair with both talking over each other, but let's be honest, we expected nothing less. One of the real issues here is the fact that it was a 2 versus 1 against Trump. This was not a debate, it was an attempted dogpile or Biden being ushered through it by the host. As anyone who watched it could see, it was Trump versus Biden and his media stooge that was literally only there to back up what Biden was saying and stop him getting obliterated at every turn by Donald Trump. Obviously, this should not surprise anyone because he is a Democratic voter there to help Sleepy Joe. Now, on top of that, I am also seeing clips of what looks like a wire under Joe Biden's jacket that, if true, would not surprise me in the slightest. I expect this snivelling shitweasel needs a wire just to be able to answer his own name each day, the senile kitty-sniffing tosspot. Naturally, the host, Chris Wallace, is being raked over the coals by almost everyone, including his colleagues at Fox. And of course, the left-wing media are attacking Donald Trump by claiming he refused to condemn white supremacists and therefore he must support them, despite the fact he said during the debate when he was asked that he sure does condemn white supremacists, and he says it multiple times. Take a listen for yourself.
He criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
to
specifically
do it?
Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
Do you want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
Who would you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
FBI director
This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got to be
not
kidding.
militia. That's what his FBI. FBI director
Gentlemen,
said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're moving.
When a bat hits you over the head, that's not an idea.
Everybody
Antifa
in your
is
administration
bad.
tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas.
Antifa is a dangerous,
all right,
radical
gentlemen,
group.
We're now moving on to the Trump and Biden records.
They'll overthrow you.
When a president...
Now obviously, the media on both sides of the pond are this morning making out like he supports them, while ignoring the fact that Biden claimed Antifa is an idea and not an organisation. It is complete lunacy, like when they say that BLM is just an idea and not an organisation, despite the fact that ideas do not have GoFundMe pages. Organisations and groups have them, not ideas. And let's be honest, if you can call Antifa just an idea, then surely you can call white supremacy an idea as well. At the end of the day, neither makes them acceptable, it's just a fact of life. So naturally, Biden's argument is completely flawed. But the facts of life really don't matter, as we know, because all this is in relation to groups like the Proud Boys counter-protesting, who last I checked have members that are not white, including one of their leaders who is apparently Hispanic. So they literally have to be the worst white supremacist group the world has ever known. Add that to the fact that Trump actually plans to label the KKK and Antifa terrorist organisations, I would say the media are once again talking a bag of shit. What a surprise that is not. Now, Donald Trump also took Biden apart on things like his cokehead son getting dishonourably discharged from the army for obviously being a raging cokehead, which even forced Biden into a blatant lie to say that it wasn't true, despite the fact that it obviously is. But then again, we know that Biden's son hardly sits on the right side of the tracks, does he? His Ukraine dealings hang over his head like supporting the IRA did with Jeremy Corbyn in the UK. This debate, it seems, was mostly focused on the coronavirus, because I guess that is what the host who set the agenda decided was Biden's best hope at not getting shit on from a great height by the God Emperor Donald Trump. If you watch it, Biden even had the audacity to blame Trump for damage done to the economy in relation to the coronavirus, despite the fact that in America the individual states control most of what goes on and the Democratic states refused to reopen when Trump wanted them to, and actually only did so just before the Democrats supported the BLM and antifa bullshit that has seen riots for well over 100 days at this point, forcing Trump to then shit on him with the simple fact that the moment he closed the borders to China, Biden and literally every Democrat and media tosspot called him a racist. And let's be honest, they called him a racist for trying to close the borders in order to save American lives, making them literally the definition of snivelling shitweasels. But then again, we already knew that. But I'm sure you would all agree that Chris Wallace 100% takes the crown for this debate, not only for the bullshit already mentioned in this video, but for the moment when he said critical race theory was racial sensitivity training. What world is he actually living in? It's a Marxist, anti-American nonsense that has infected the UK as well, because what happens there is copied here now that every UK institution is infected with these low-life fuckpigs, much like the United States is. Obviously, Trump shit all over it by saying that they are teaching people to hate our country, and I'm not going to let that happen. Something, unfortunately, you won't hear from a British Prime Minister, let me tell you. Now, in parts, Trump did well, but like I said, the whole debate was a shit show with nothing really gained from it in either side. And the arsehole Chris Wallace interrupting Trump while giving his kitty sniffer mate Joe Biden a free run at it was just pathetic. But in the end, both looked rather petty, but Trump did what Trump does best, and that is why people like him, so technically I suppose he would have won. Now, I've actually waffled on about this longer than I thought I would, so I will end this video with one of my favourite clips from the debate last night.
A lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So, Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.